What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, fans and viewers? This is another Fear the Walking Dead review, and we've got a fun one to review today because we've got Fear the Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 3, entitled Humbug's Gulch, and it's a very odd name for an episode, but this is a big one. And for any of you who watch just my Walking Dead stuff and then skip the Fear the Walking Dead reviews that I've been putting up and maybe some of the videos related to it, the hints towards the helicopter group and anything that's being discussed in Fear the Walking Dead right now, I would suggest you watch this video because we get a major crossover character from the original show and quite a bit of time is spent with him. Still some mysteries to unravel, but we get our big introduction. Of course, I'm talking about Dwighty Boy, Dwight D, Dwight, all of those names, yes. He's got like 4 nicknames, I realized. Like the Dwighty Boy was the one Negan gave to him, and then D, he referred to himself as D or Dwight after he killed Denise, and so, it's pretty, I don't know, pretty funny, but, so he's in this episode. The majority of the episode, I would say, is in this. It reminded me of Westworld. If any of you guys have watched Westworld, the android synthetic human show, 2 seasons of it are on HBO. Highly suggest it. Great show. Season 3 is coming out in 2020. That's just I've never discussed it or reviewed it on the channel before, but I have watched the seasons 1 and 2 of Westworld. Great show. But in Westworld, there's these Midwestern, Western style, gunslinging Texas, Southern style towns. You got these little inns and brothels and keeps and stuff like that. And so it's funny because they even have the tumbleweed when June and John come into when they arrive. It's basically like, you see a tumbleweed come by. It's, it's murky and dusty and misty. It's a ghost town and what was once probably something that was well thriving and bumping. And it just gives, I like the way it was kind of directed where you get like a sense of what this town is very quickly. And apparently, I'll give a name drop here, that the actor who plays Strand, although he's not in this episode, there's a very good reason for that. It's because the actor who plays him, I'm doing a quick search right now because of course trying to figure this out. Victor Strand, he is played by Coleman Domingo, and he is the director for the most recent episode of Fear the Walking Dead, episode 3, and it was a great one. Hey, maybe, you know what, I think he should direct more episodes. That's kind of, has that happened often where an actor who's currently on the show directs an episode of the show? Because I know Michael Cutlets, who plays Abraham Ford, directed an episode of Season 9, and he's directing an episode of Season 10. There's been rumors Andrew Lincoln might direct an episode. Obviously, he plays Rick. So but those are characters that aren't on the show. Abraham's dead, and Rick's not on the original show, at least for now, until he goes to the movies. So it's for the Walking Dead previous characters who have been, since they're not acting, they have the extra time or they're acting on different shows, but because they're not filming in Sonoya, Georgia anymore, they have the time to direct. This is interesting for Fear because, Victor's obviously a main character who's still on the show. We just had the episode last week with him and Salazar. He's not in this episode, but he directed it. So, like I was saying, it's this interesting kind of ghost town, southern Texas style, kind of just like a Midwestern, mid-1800s gunslinging town. Reminded me of, if you guys play Red Dead Redemption 2, any of the little towns that are in that game kind of reminded me of that. But June and John, they're just getting supplies, but they keep finding, that's the one thing. So this episode keeps showing you the roadblocks. The zombies with their intestines are ripped out of their guts and they're tied together like knots. Like you're trying to tie down a boat to a dock. Whoever's doing this, they're tying these zombies, walkers, whatever, in a line on intersections of the road, and they're putting them next to signs, and it's forming a perimeter. In the beginning of the episode, you see them crossing off this in a circle, and they're like, "It's a perimeter. What the heck's going on?" They don't understand. It seems like it's just one big circle. I don't know what the reasoning is for it. Like, even though we find out who's been doing it at the end of the episode in a plot twist, quote unquote ish kind of way, we don't really know why. But I'll get to that in a little bit. So Alicia, Morgan, I mean, everyone's pretty much just trying to find these roadblocks and figure out what the heck's going on. June and John get shot at by somebody. They drive away, and it turns out that the car that they were in, Dwight thought that Sherry was driving it at one point, and he thought that they were responsible for doing something to her, because he actually gets into a brief shootout with John, but because John is such a crack shot, he hits Dwight in the shoulder. He gets knocked out briefly. He's kind of whacked. Like, he's been out, I don't know how long it's been, but it's been at least a few months. It hasn't been the 6-year time jump from The Walking Dead, but it's been a bit of time. Like, you would have to think that Morgan went west at one point, and then Dwight wasn't too far behind, because both characters left in the Season 8 finale. After All Out War, Morgan was at the junkyard for a bit, so he stayed behind. But Dwight, I mean, they both in the Season 8 finale of The Walking Dead, both characters left the show, although Morgan came on in Season 4, and Dwight's coming on and is on in Season 5. So we find out, so this is where the Walking Dead piece of it comes into play, which is why I want you guys to stick around, because I've been interested, like, what happened to Dwight after the events of All Out War, because he we had the whole plot line from the comics where he turns coat, turns on Negan, he's given Rick inside information, Negan eventually finds out, and then Dwight's a prisoner that they're going to kill, and then once Negan's defeated with Eugene's trick, with the bullets, you don't really know what's going to happen to Dwight, but then Daryl spares Dwight, that was an arc that needed to have a resolution, because, I mean, that's been going on since Season 6 of the original show, when Daryl first bumped into Dwight, Sherry, and the sister in the woods. And literally, all the Savior stuff really stemmed from that, so having Dwight and Daryl's storyline wrapped up made sense. So Daryl spared him, and told him to go, like, make it right, make up for the bad things you've done. But he exiled him. Like, Daryl exiled Dwight, said that there was really nothing for Dwight in the communities anyway. The Saviors were finished, and unless Dwight tried to make himself a part of the communities, kind of like the other Saviors, like Jed, and some of the other Saviors, like Arat, before she was killed, Arat, Laura, who is still alive, who is a part of the Alexandria Council, all the Saviors that basically de factoed from just the Sanctuary went bust. You had those Raiders with Regina, but then there's the other Saviors that immersed into other communities. So Dwight theoretically could have done that, but obviously finding his wife was the big mystery. She was the one, that's why he did all of those horrible things, or that's how he justified it. And as a Savior, he did those horrible things for his wife, but his wife became Negan's wife for Dwight. So there's a lot there, and we never got a resolution, and we still don't have a resolution, interestingly enough, because we find out in this episode that Dwight has been chasing ghosts. He has been following this letter trail, which I don't understand that. Why is Sherry sending Dwight on this just infinite chain of just the freaking infinity symbol? Like, she just keeps, it's just like a treasure hunt she's sending him on just to find her. I'm like, why? Like, what's the point? And like, I don't know. I don't know if Sherry knows somebody. Maybe she got captured by the helicopter group and it's a trap. The fact that one woman could cover that much land distance is pretty remarkable. But I just don't know. I don't know what Sherry's endgame is. Like, does she actually want to reunite with Dwight, who is technically her, husband from the original, the old world? Or is she, are there friends that she's trying to meet up with? Did some group capture her? Like, that's another mystery. Like, ever since Season 7 of the original Walking Dead, where the hell did Sherry go? She gets Daryl out of prison, she runs away, and then Dwight finds the note in their old house that confirms that she did all of this stuff. But then, like, I think I had heard rumors that Christine and Evangelicus, I think that's her name, the actress who plays Sherry, I heard that she didn't really want to sign on for many episodes. Like, she only wanted a brief role, and that was it. Because in the comics, Sherry is a much bigger character. She basically becomes the leader of the Sanctuary once Dwight steps down from power, and her character is a lasting force in The Walking Dead until she eventually gets killed. But in the comics, she has a much larger role. In the show, they did not go that route at all. So, but anyway, to get back on track, I mean, this is really fucked with Dwight. At one point, Dwight was he wanted to commit suicide at one point, and I like how June and John used their relationship and everything we know about their relationship from season 4, how they use that as a means of trying to reel Dwight back into things. Like, we didn't know where each other were, we would have done anything, we were in a dark place as well. They get it, they understand exactly the spot that he's in. Because when John and June in season 4 couldn't find each other, we saw how desperate they were to help and whatnot. And Dwight's, they were honestly the perfect characters to bump into, because they were they had the story that Dwight needed to hear, that there was hope and the possibility of a brighter future in which he finds Sherry, that there is no official dead end until he finds her, and there is always hope on the horizon. So, and I like how, they used the walkers, that were kind of entrapping them in this town. They were, I guess this is a maneuver, that one freaking, the split, what the hell was it called? The something split, where John shoots Dwight's axe, and the bullet splits the axe, and it goes diagonal and kills both of the walkers. I was like, man, I it seemed a little, unrealistic. Okay, I mean, that's like a 1 in a million shot. I mean, if anyone could do it, John could. I mean, if it was anybody else, maybe besides Rick Grimes, I would probably have a problem with it, but he's a cop just like Rick. John, I mean, Dory, he's a cop just like Rick. He's got that history. He's got the dual pistols. He's always freaking shooting. And I guess I can't be too. It was cool. It was like a because that's the other. I've always complimented Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead, especially Greg Nicotero's work, that they're always creative with the zombies. They never repeat them. Like, obviously you're going to have some overlap in how zombies are killed, but they always have some new technique or some new walker that comes into the picture that they have to take down. Like in the original Walking Dead in season 9, you had the spider walker. In Fear the Walking Dead, you had those radioactive walkers with the freaking spores on them, with all the radiation growing on them, which is disgusting. But They that's the one area of the show they're like, no way we're gonna let this falter. That's like what we're known for. We're gonna make these walkers as creative as possible every episode, even if it kills us. So I do always give the cast and crew of both shows a lot of credit for doing that. So that's pretty cool. And then Dwight reunites, I guess, with Morgan. They never had an on-screen conversation in the original show, but they recognize each other. There is a beat in the season 8 finale of The Walking Dead when, after Eugene's bullets go off, chaos ensues, Morgan sees Dwight leaning against a car, and he looks at him. And so they saw each other there, but also when Morgan was a sniper, when the Sanctuary was surrounded by walkers and Morgan was one of the snipers, I would have to assume that he was in radio contact with Dwight, because Dwight was feeding them information, telling them maybe where there's weak spots, maybe where there are some saviors trying to kill some of the walkers. So I have to imagine Rick and Daryl explained to Morgan, all right, there's this guy Dwight, he's on the inside, he was bad, but we think he's good, he's going to feed us information. So Morgan obviously knew. Like, it's not unrealistic that Morgan would recognize Dwight, but they were two characters that never had an on-screen interaction of any sort. Like, Morgan was more occupied with the Kingdom and Gavin and that side of things. He never had a conversation with Negan, nor did Carol. Most of the Kingdom people never had it. It was all Gavin, because Gavin was the lieutenant that dealt with that operation with the Kingdom. Negan never dealt with he really only dealt with Alexandria. I mean, Simon was in charge of Hilltop, and then Simon was once in charge of Oceanside before they ran away in the massacre and all that crap. So, Because Negan, I don't think Negan has one scene at the hilltop. Yeah, I don't think there's any scenes. Correct me if I'm wrong. Negan's never at the hilltop. He's never at the kingdom. It's the only place is Alexandria and the sanctuary. And then the junkyard when Jadis captures him that one episode. So, I mean, yeah, it was just the way the story went. But I always found that interesting because he never had those interactions. But now going into season 10, now that Carol is back to living in Alexandria and Negan's out of jail helping, sort of, I hope Angela King fulfills my wishes of having a Negan Carol interaction in season 10. But that's for another vlog. We'll discuss that later. I'm actually going to try to make a private vlog just about that. Just tell you guys if you're interested in that topic. So, but anyway, this was a good episode. It was decent. You had this side plot with the kids. Alicia keeps trying to radio contact those stupid kids that they found. And then you find out at the end of the episode that they're the ones tying the zombies' guts and making the traps along the road. The question, my question is why? Why are they doing this? They put their brother in a truck that they covered with guts, and it looked like he was hurt, but it didn't look like he was hurt. He was just faking it because the girl was like, "Oh, did you think he's gonna make them buy it?" It's like, what are they trying to do? Like, are they the villain of this season? Like, I hope, because we still don't know what happened to Al. 2 episodes, episode 2 and 3 have gone by since she was captured by the helicopter group, and we don't know what the hell happened to her. In the preview for next week's episode, we do see her truck, so that'll be interesting, unless it's just somebody else driving it. But yeah, still no Al. I don't know, is she just MIA the rest of this season? Or, because as soon as you give Al a scene, you have to then introduce the helicopter group in some manner, because you have to show her captors, where she ended up. Did she get traded for an A or a B, just like Jadis trades people? We don't know. We don't. I mean, we will soon, hopefully. I hope there's some answer, because most likely, I mean, again, this is what I was fearing, no pun intended, that the show would give us a cliffhanger and say, oh, if you want to learn more about the helicopter group, wait till the Rick Grimes movies. It's like, well, give us something. Like, you don't have to explain the whole helicopter group. You can leave that for Rick Grimes in the movies, but just give us a little bit of a teaser. That's all I'm asking, all right? That's all I'm asking for, okay? Overall, good episode. I'll give it a 9. I really liked Dwight's interactions with John and June. I really liked how his story matched up with theirs, and it made sense to me. And there were some, maybe unrealistic techniques. It was cool. I liked the Western style town that they used for this episode. I thought Domingo directing this episode was a cool choice. I'm trying to think of the characters, like Charlie. We haven't seen her in a while. There are some characters we haven't seen in a bit because we have to sacrifice some time to the others. The bottle episode thing that kind of happened in The Walking Dead. But, I mean, I'm just in for the ride. Like, I recognize that when Fear the Walking Dead is on, that I'm not as glued to it as I would be with The Walking Dead. But it's still... Because if I did reaction videos for Fear the Walking Dead, I would just be, like, just staring. I'd just be like, okay. Like, I don't have too many reactions. Most of the time, I'm just trying to pick up on things that might relay back to the original show. But it's still entertaining. I'm still enjoying it because you've got these lingering plot points. I don't know what, because what the hell are the kids doing with the zombie guts and the traps and along the road? Is it related to the helicopter group at all? We don't know. Like, those are the two things. Who captured Al? It looks like Strand is going to try to break into Salazar's compound and steal the plane, despite the fact that Salazar said no. That's gonna be fun. Let's see if he joins them or shoots them or whatever the hell happens. So it's cool that Salazar's character isn't just left off. Because when he told Strand to leave, I was like, is that it for his character? But it looks like from the previews we're gonna have more. So, cool stuff. I'm looking forward to it. Again, I don't know how many episodes there are this season. Is there does it go to episode 8 and then there's like a mid-season break similar to the original show? But then you would be kind of encroaching upon The Walking Dead's airspace if you get too late into September or whatever. But I mean, for now, I'm along for the ride. So let's see where it goes. Let's see where the ride takes us. But we're only like about a month away from a San Diego Comic-Con Season 10 trailer. Just want to throw that out there to you guys. So if you're looking forward to that, hey, got good news for you. So, all right, guys. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Did you like Dwight's emergence into Fear the Walking Dead? Now that he'll have some screen time with Morgan and the rest, is that enough to bring you on board? What'd you think? At least we got some resolution to where Dwight is. There's no resolution to his story. He hasn't found Sherry yet. There's no closure with that. So now that's going to be a plot point into Fear's storyline. So, and give Morgan his stick back. What the hell's he doing with that hoe? Like, he turned that freaking rake thing into his new staff. I was like, the fuck? Like, just didn't make sense. That stick was like his most prized weapon that Eastman gave him, and like, why, what the fuck? Because it's got fucking radiation on it. It just seemed like a stupid, like, oh, he lost his stick because it had radiation on it. Like, that's dumb. It's a signature weapon. Like every Morgan toy action figure. Like when you think Morgan, like new Morgan, ever since he came into the show in season 5, when he reemerged in the show, you think of him with his stick, and now he doesn't have it. Like, I don't get it. Whatever. But anyway, it's like Rick just... I mean, actually, that'll be Rick in the movies, because he lost his Colt Python. Now Judith has it, so he doesn't have his handy-dandy Colt Python. He doesn't have that with him at the helicopter base. So he's gonna have to get some new weapons or get a little physical. Because, he doesn't... I don't think he had... Does he have his axe? I don't know. You can zoom in on that image of him washed up on shore when Jadis finds him. Maybe zoom in and see if he's got any weapons on him. I don't know. But we'll see. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe. See you later. Peace out.